Okay. So this is from a Pirate Software fan-made channel. Again, I'm not sure if this is new or old, and this is just like a new clip. People are saying it's new, but I don't think he's saying anything that we haven't heard before from him. But this is Pirate Software on Star Citizen monetization.
Star Citizen is honestly solid for the base price. It's fun as and there's enough content there to be worth $40 to spend on it. If you have an idea for an MMO, right? An MMO generally is engaged persistence between players, and that persistent world has some kind of competition in some way or some sort of sharing between those players that is persistent. This is
12 years, and he just described what an MMO is in 2 sentences, and we don't have that yet. He's replying to somebody in chat, clearly. But look at, hold on, can you guys see above me? I had to deal with the Star Citizen simp at work. I treated it like dealing with an overly enthusiastic political believer. Smile, nod, and pity the broken mind.
not a persistent world yet. It is a number of technical demos that don't have persistence, commonly have wipes, and as such, isn't really a game yet. It is technical testing of what could one day become a game. So
I love it. I love it. From an actual game developer himself, all of it, like just saying what needs to be said that people just have to ignore. They can't help themselves, but they got to ignore it because they can't handle the truth. That is just straight up the truth. That's it. There is facts, and then there are feelings. And the thing is you jump in Star Citizen and you have fun. Those are feelings. He's not trying to hurt your feelings here. He's just trying to tell you the facts. There is not persistence in game as much as you guys say that PES exists, right? Like, that was a big conversation with the whole Asmon thing. It doesn't really work that way, right? Because there may be persistence in a given server, but you don't always end up back on that server. And let me tell you something, guys. They shut some of these servers down because they become corrupt or whatever happens. But like on day 1, you might be in server 100, and on day 12, you may never be able to get back to that server again, right?
can't agree with you there. I can't. Maybe one day it could become a really cool game, but the direction of their monetization leads me to believe that that day will never come. Yeah, it's just testing. It doesn't even matter how long it's been tested. Like, you have to understand something. It doesn't matter how long a game is in development. It doesn't. It does not matter how long a game is in development. What matters is the direction of development, the communication of the studio. The communication of the studio is fine. They do a good job of communicating the things they're working on. They have a
that's debatable.
Roadmap. The direction of the studio, I can't agree.
Wait, he said something about a roadmap.
The direction of the studio, they do a good job of communicating the things they're working on. They have a massive roadmap. The direction of the
They have a massive roadmap. Okay.
studio, I can't agree with. The direction of the studio is heavily geared towards squeezing as much money out of the community as possible. I can't agree with that.
Yep.
I think it's gross. And
it is.
Many of the ways that they're squeezing money out of the community could cause damage down the line to their game, such as selling insurance for ships that is lifetime. Something that we know.
Okay, so he saw the Asmon clip. I reached out to this guy once, got ignored. Not going to reach out to him again. It's fine. Like, big timed. I got big timed. It's cool. Watching the Asmon clip and having those two people come on and talk about things in a very short period, an hour is not long enough to ever talk about all the things that go into Star Citizen monetization. Sadly, it's true. There's so much more to it than that.
No, inside of the gaming industry.
Big time? That's rude? Oh, it's just a joke. Like, I sent him a message and was like, anytime you want to ask a question about Star Citizen, just just hit me up. I'm open door. We don't have to do anything about. We don't have to do any what's it called, like networking bullshit between streamers. Like I'm not trying to ride your dick or anything.
History that we've known for a long time is the moment that a company sells a lifetime subscription to anything, that game is going to die. We've seen it timeless times, over and over again. Go back and even look at something like Hellgate London. Hellgate London was doing just fine, and then suddenly they released a lifetime subscription to the game.
Yeah, see, he, again, watched the video but doesn't know the context of LTI, right? It was straight up like a little pointless money sink in the game that is never supposed to be a thing, was always communicated that way, and actually was solidly communicated that way. But the community is so brain dead that they couldn't get past the fact that it sounds slightly better. So they're min-maxing all of their stuff in a game that they have never communicated what the game is. So everybody's just min-maxing their accounts like it's a mobile game or something, and with no context to what LTI even means. Like, as somebody who's followed this game for 12 years, I'm not sure what LTI is if the game ever releases. I don't know what it means. Right? In terms of how much will insurance actually cost players? Like, what, like if people do not have LTI, what does it look like? What does it look like when people have LTI? They have never actually communicated that. They just say that it'll cost you more. How much more? How valuable is LTI to a player? Nobody knows. But they're assuming that it is. And this is Star Citizen's best monetization tactic, is say very little. Say very little. And allow the community to guess what it is. Because when they do, they create their own headcanon and they buy more and more and more. That is the issue with this. It is not that it is a lifetime subscription to something. Again, every time I've watched this guy's videos, as always, anybody who is not like in it is never going to truly understand the nuance of what's going on. That's why I reached out to him, so I can give context to that nuance. But yeah, it's one of those things where as these people are coming out from the outside looking in, they're always going to make it look either way better than it is or way worse than it is. In this example, LTI is this really has turned into this sneaky marketing tactic, but it is not a lifetime subscription to something that's actually good.
The moment you release a lifetime subscription to the game, it's about to go downhill. Happens every single time. I have never seen that work out because it's we don't have enough money. This isn't sustainable. Inject a bunch of money into the system. Maybe we can make it work. And if it doesn't work, the game's going to die.
Yeah, that's not what happened in this case. This was, we keep telling you to stop. They literally were like, stop doing this. It doesn't make sense. And the community kept doing it, and they said, fuck it.
That's why we do that. That is the reason that happens in the industry. So when you have a lifetime subscription to a ship before launch is even out, that is a massive red flag to me, dude. That is a massive, massive red flag to me. That is dangerous.
Like the LTI thing was, honestly, the community was so stupid that they just took advantage of them. That's really what it is. I was there the entire time for that. And every communication, every week, somebody would ask how valuable LTI is, and they would literally tell you it's like saving 50 credits when landing at a landing zone. It is not worth it. And then people kept upgrading their packages and doing all this stupidity, and then they were finally just like, you know what? We're going to re-add LTI to every new ship that we sell, so we sell more of them.
Dangerous. Because the cost of running that the whole time, you're not recouping on any of it. So what the hell's going on there? On top of that, having $687 million when you're still in beta? That's disturbing to me. That's a lot of goddamn money. Didn't know that's a swan song? It is generally a swan song. It is very rare that a lifetime subscription is not a swan song for a studio. Very rare. In this case, it is a red flag. Not necessarily a swan song, but a red flag. And that's bothersome. Those people could have shares in the company. They could. The other thing that I think is a little bit weird is kind of the community interaction around the game, which is there's a number of people that talk about their purchases in Star Citizen as investments. That is not an investment. An investment denotes some potential for return. That is a purchase of a item in a
So he sees it. He's definitely seeing the comments.
Video game. That's a weird thing, and I don't understand culturally why that's being used. That's odd. It is not an investment. Should not call it that. I don't know why there's a number of people that have used this term, but it's very strange. Yeah, investment implies the potential for a return. Yeah, no, not an investment. And there are purchases in there that aren't ridiculous. There are.
It is an investment for some people, but the people who are calling it an investment are not the people that are investing in Star Citizen ships to resell them and get a return. It is literally them using their emotional investment or time investment or sunk cost fallacy and calling it something that it's not. There is an incredibly tiny section of this community, I think, that is buying larger ships and reselling them, like these limited time things. But I don't think too many people are doing that to the point where it's even worth mentioning.
For like the initial ships or whatever the hell. But like seeing microtransactions go as high as $48,000, dude, no. There's no way that I could ever say that that's okay.
It's not okay.
Ever at all. That's not going to happen. So like the reason why I don't like it is this. I come from a time where you buy the video game and then through effort, you earn the ability to progress. Star Citizen.
Why do you even have to write this on a whiteboard? This is the world we live in. Because this isn't just Star Citizen. This is like every game.
You buy the video game, and then you can also buy that effort. You just buy the big boy ships. Wrong? I can go on there right now and buy...
Who said wrong? Infected Ronin said wrong.
Those ships. I can buy every one of them. I don't have to build them. I don't have to spend time making them.
Wrong?
I can just go buy them. You don't buy the game? You buy a ship in the video game. Are we playing semantics, boy, now? Is that what we're doing? Are we saying the game free, but you need to buy a ship to play
the game's not even free.
The game. Is that what we're doing right now? Okay, here, let me make this more clear. In order to play the game, you need to buy a microtransaction in a demo in which there are frequent wipes. What good value? EVE Online ruined itself when it started making skill injectors sellable. Yeah, that was the immediate death of that game to me. You have to buy a package. You have to buy a package that comes with a starter ship. You are still buying the MMO package.
No. You don't have to buy a package that comes with a starter ship. You can buy a package that comes with a $200 ship. Nobody would say this was wrong if you had to buy a package that was all the same price, $45 to $70, like a AAA game price, that involved making a choice, right? Like, if this game was non-problematic, this is what it would look like. Here, sir, here is my between $45 and $70, but everybody pays the same price. Maybe it goes up over time, whatever, like the original backers paid $45, people today pay $70. I don't think anybody would have a problem with that. And then you have a thing called a starter package. When you load into the game, you make a choice. What ship are you going to start with? Are you going to start with a prospector, which is a mining ship? Are you going to start with a vulture, which is a starting salvage ship? Or are you going to start with a Drake cutter, which is kind of like a ship that just has an interior and doesn't really do anything, or whatever, right? You choose your route that you're going to go on initially, and then from there, you do whatever you want. Would anybody have a problem with that? Nobody would have a problem with that. Pirate Software wouldn't have a problem with that. The reason he's talking to his chat the way that he is because that's not how it works. You can literally buy that starter package and then turn around and immediately buy something that costs $1,000 real dollars in the game and should take many, many months to earn in game.
Okay, here. Let me make this very clear to you. Any game where I can buy the video game And then instead of using effort to attain endgame gear and activities, I can just whip out my credit card is a game. That's
Yes.
it. It's a game.
Period.
That's a game. I've made it very clear for you. When will you remove the Heartbound demo microtransactions? I'm on to you, Cardboard Cowboy. How you doing, by the way, man? We're talking about Store Citizen, which I don't respect. When you say
End of
microtransactions,
story.
what do you mean? I mean things that are not cosmetic. If you are able to purchase items that have any type of value in the game, such as being able to be traded for in-game currency of any kind,
And
such as the WoW token,
I'll let him explain it
or
again.
in EVE Online, the same, that ends up being a problem. If you are able to buy an item that gives you some sort of statistic or mechanical advantage in the game, or unlock statistic or mechanical bonuses in any possible way, that is a
Not gonna lie, I just started playing Eve. I really, really like it, but I can see how fucking broken their monetization is.
problem. The
It's
only thing
bad.
that should be sold as a micro
Like, I am grinding as like an alpha, and I can just see that I could just buy skills. I could just buy everything with real money and just kind of catch up to people really quick. But I'm loving that I'm grinding.
transaction in a game where I will not have a problem is cosmetic. It needs to be cosmetic in nature, not giving you a statistical or mechanical advantage in any possible way.
Yes. And here's the thing is I'm like, yeah, you could do that in Star Citizen too, right? And that's the argument that people make. I am objectively enjoying EVE Online, ignoring the fact that I could pay, right? But there's this disconnect with people that feel the way that I feel about EVE. They feel the same way about Star Citizen. But what is misunderstood in the whole part of the conversation is that it definitely makes the game worse. It makes the overall game worse. There is a different conversation between your own anecdotal experiences and the overall discussion about what makes a good video game. What makes a good video game is, or what makes a bad video game, I should say, is what's on the screen. If you're able to buy power, buy stats, buy speed, skip things, that is a shitty fucking video game. End of story, period. That is a shit video game, and this always has. Star Citizen could potentially save itself, and it's literally the only reason that I'm around here still, is if the ships essentially become cosmetic somewhat. It's impossible for them to be entirely cosmetic, but much more that it's cosmetic, except it's your job. So I guess I have to address that, even though I don't think I need to right now, but I will, just because you've probably typed in this chat like twice, so you just don't know me. It has never been my job until the last year, and I've been around for 12, harping on the same things the entire time. It just kind of became streaming kind of became a thing. I enjoyed the shit out of it, and it became a thing where when I was at work, I was making less money and I was miserable. So I'm not sitting here doing it because I have to. I'm sitting here doing it because I want to, and I'm less miserable. Does that make sense? So you're not going to say something like that and make me less happy. I loved my job in a lot of ways, my old job, and I hated it in a lot of ways. This job allows me to be here for my wife, who has bipolar disorder, and I can be there when she needs me. I can be there for my family more often. I get to go to holidays and things like that now. So there's a lot of positives. There's a lot of negatives about being a streamer. But I am not hooked on Star Citizen or anything like that because it makes me money. It never made me money really until the last year. So yeah, you could take that statement and you could shove it because it has no validity to the conversation that we're having now. I have been spouting the exact same things that we're hearing in this video for the last 10 years. And I truly believe that there's a small opportunity still that this game could be really good, even though they sold spaceships. And here's what my hope is that the ships are largely cosmetic. You like the way they look, but there's a lot of components and things like that on the ship, and a lot of reputation and things, progression systems that can be put in the game that negate the pay pigs that literally made the game technically as cool as it is. And there's enough skill in the game that it hopefully will matter. But they have given very little indication, and I would say very little. They used to give no indication that this was the direction that they were going into. They're starting to make it somewhat seem like they might be going in that direction. And it's the only reason I'm still kind of holding on to hope.
That's it. This is a very simple concept. You're not going to wriggle your way around it and try and be like Star Citizen is actually selling you cosmetic ships. No, they offer statistical and mechanical advantages to those different ships, unlocking additional content or different ways to play with more people or at a statistical advantage over other ships.
100%. And even within that content, you could buy the end game ship. So it's always going to be broken. It's always going to be a shitty game. And my hope is that the really cool aspects of the game, it will help prevent it from being as shitty as it seems right now.
As such, this is pay
He'll
to
never
win.
like this game.
I refuse to play pay to win games. They are not fun because I'm not fighting you. I'm fighting your credit card. Dumb. It's very simple. And I'll fight you all day in a video game. What about Warframe? Warframe doesn't have a statistical or mechanical advantage.
No, it's
that
just
is a
cosmetic,
PvE
right?
game where everything is cosmetic. I have earned everything that I have obtained in Warframe, and I enjoy the shit out of it. Yeah, Fashion Frame is the end game. What about Path of Exile? Path of Exile does not offer you a statistical or mechanical advantage in the game. The most egregious microtransaction they have is more stash tabs, I believe, which is a quality of life thing, which is kind of on the line. But that's not an advantage in the game as much as people think it is, which is weird. Stash tabs are a little bit gross. Yeah, it's a lot of what about him. This is my favorite part about this when I'm like, hey, this sucks ass. And people are like, well, what about this other game? That's called whataboutism. That's how that works. Does it offer a statistical or mechanical advantage? Use your brain. And if it does, then I think it sucks. It's not hard. It's a very simple concept.
Yep.
Statistical or mechanical advantage.
Eve is just as pay to win as Star Citizen, in my opinion. Okay. I guess you're doing the whataboutism thing right now. It doesn't matter. We're talking about Star Citizen.
Advantage or cosmetic? Cosmetic, fine. Statistical or mechanical advantage, not fine. Very simple concept. Brain? Use brain.
No, he never reached out to me, but I don't care if he did or he didn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting him to. But and I think based off of this conversation now, I don't think he cares to learn more because what he sees is enough to know that it's shit. And you know what? That's fair. And that's it. Why does he need to learn more if there's a $48,000 package that gives you a statistical advantage? End of story. Done. Wrap it up. I will occasionally talk about it with my chat to hopefully let them know that they're being absolutely stupid. And that's it.
My opinion's pretty clear, and it's been the same for ages. Share the brain cell? Oh no.
Bart, I can't believe what I'm reading. I don't think he sees enough because he thinks too classical about pay to win. What the fuck? What is modern pay to win versus classical pay to win? Did I just read that out loud? Did I just read that? You know what? I am going to time him out. And he's been subbed here forever. You're timed out for an hour. I don't know what else to say. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. It's like, you need to be punished for that statement. End of story. That is... I need to... What can that even mean? What does that mean? I'm trying to think of what that could mean. Renaissance pay to win. What does that mean?
That assumes that every game that has multiplayer is the goal to win against other players.
What does that mean? Times out the only person who could explain.
Every game that is multiplayer
I understand why you're here now, Ravel.
Player is inherently competitive in some way. Players will build competition out of it, Zori, no matter what. No matter what kind of a game it is, there's always going to be some kind of a thing, some kind of a goal, achievement base, or anything like that. Even games that claim that they are not competitive, by their very nature, in multiplayer play, will become competitive because of the player base.
Pirate Software is bad about this topic. He's bringing an example of a game that works exactly like EVE and Star Citizen and framing it as good. What he's talking about, Warframe? Zalea, you are way too cooked on EVE right now. I don't know what else to say.
That is always going to be.
Read Zalea's other post. You could buy skill injectors. You could buy skill injectors. What's the argument here? If you could buy skill injectors, then I wouldn't be in the situation that I'm in where I cannot play the content that I want to play in EVE. And Warframe is a PvE game. Warframe could be pay to win, but it's PvE, which he mentioned.
Be the case. Even if the game itself does not offer competitive advantage at all, or competitive situations. Because you made it multiplayer, it will be that way. That's why we have a speedrunning community. That's the whole point with that. And the moment that you offer anything that makes you faster in a game like that, you've now offered pay to win for speedrunners. See? This is how this works. This is why I don't ever want to offer mechanical advantage or statistic advantage for money. Ever. It should only ever be cosmetic for money. Because cosmetic doesn't change the gameplay.
And again, we need to understand that studios like Star Citizen or even his, they need to make money post-launch to maintain their games. And multiplayer games with huge servers and things like that need to make a lot more money. His blinders are on. Guys, there is nothing blind to the fact that buying mechanics in the game is good. Statistical advantages in dogfighters and Star Citizen. We just experienced it with the Hornet Mk2. Or Mark II, the F7A. We just experienced it. There is no defense to this, and the fact that you guys are this fucking cooked is so crazy to me that we are still living in a world like this, where this is okay. This is the reason the video game community is so cooked and we don't get any good games anymore. I'm sorry. The fact that you guys can come from any angle and try to defend this is something I cannot handle anymore. You will not get him or me off of this hill. And I am hoping, even though that you could buy spaceships, that there is a little bit of hope left. Where pay to win will still exist, but not to the extent that we think it is right now. But it most likely won't.
It just makes you laugh more in cutscenes when your character's like underwear's on the outside for $5 or some. Yeah, it's not a hard concept. I love that one. Okay, but there's this game that you could pay to get statistical and mechanical advantage. Do you think that's okay? No. No. Like, dude, if you want to play Credit Card Warrior, just go play Clash of Clans, right? Like, who gives a at that point? Go play those games. Have fun sitting there like spending thousands of dollars to beat the other dude that's spending thousands of dollars and see whose credit card dick is larger than the other ones, right? Like that's what you're asking for when you want that kind of a game. It's not skill based.
The mods were fed $4.20.
That's not how that works. Like, enjoy your whale wars. Like, I don't want that. I don't want that in games that I play. It sucks. What about a game that offers a statistical or mechanical advantage? Disadvantage. Pay to lose. Cardboard Cowboy, have you just unlocked a new meta? Would that be me paying money so that I lose, or me paying money so that you lose stats? Could I pay $5 to, like, nerf you? Is that what you're...
That's dangerous. That's actually dangerous. That's actually dangerous.
You're trying to say to me? Like, instead of paying $5 to get stronger, I pay $5 so that you lose the game. I'd play that.
All right. I mean, that was the clip. Again, I have nothing else to say that I agree wholeheartedly. Star Citizen will never be a good game because of the choices, or never be a great game because of the choices that they made. My thinly veiled hope is that it could be a good game with certain mechanics being dumbed down, as in like what your ship is versus what you can turn your ship into. And then the even more thin hope of what Croncy talked about on our podcast, which was like Eve has like Tech 1, 2, and 3 versions of ships. And if we had that, so like if you're only buying the Tech 0 version or whatever, and then in-game crafting makes the actual advantage, and you're just like getting the experience, but your shit would be amazing. But that's never going to happen because Star Citizen currently is just a storefront, and that's it. So like even thinking that that will be a thing based off of any of the experiences that we've had now, I think that there is a 0% chance that'll ever exist. Simply because it doesn't make them money. You think Ali put it best. I watched Ali's video, and I'm going to go ahead and say he did not. The only advantages you get from the 48K package is around $200. Where did that idea come from? Because I'm sorry, the advantage of going from a starting miner ship to an endgame mining ship is more than $200. So that argument is completely cooked instantly, right? So there's that. But yeah, I thought that was it's great to showcase the way the community thinks by watching videos like that. Anytime we talk about pay to win, you guys come out of nowhere and defend it, and it's the indefensible. End of story.